Proverbs 18. One of my favorites, and we're still dealing with family, friends, and fidelity. And Reg, I'm going to try to stay on point and not run over. Because as I've said, folks, your most precious commodity is your time. And I don't take your time lightly. I do not. Let's hear it out of the version that we're all familiar with, and then we'll hear it another way. Through desire, a man having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. A fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. When the wicked cometh, then cometh also contempt, and with ignominy reproach. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom as a flowing brook. It is not good to accept the person of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment. My favorite. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his, and sometime her, mouth calleth for strokes. I inserted the her. And I inserted that because there are some, I was going to say ladies don't do this, but there are some women that walk in the role of a man. And sometimes that can be hazardous to your health. And sometimes with certain men, not with the gentleman, but with certain men, when they discern that that's how you're carrying yourself, they'll treat you like a man. And you are not equipped to handle what's coming down the pike. You don't want to do that. This is just some advice. Do with it what you will. If you're having a difference of opinion with a man, and he tells you that maybe we should table this, maybe we should curtail it, stop. Don't say another word. That may be difficult, and you might be right. But that things stay safe for you, just stop. Leave it. You'll pick it up again, but a lot of times because you talk faster and because of the way you were made, your voice sometimes comes out like a shrill. It can trigger something. A lot of people feel now is the time of the woman. And I don't want to get political or anything like that, but I have observed that a lot of these social justice issues, when they start out, it's presented one way, but as you dig a little deeper, you see some other aspects of it that stuff kind of gets turned around. There are other elements that the average person doesn't know is attached to a lot of these social justice issues. Even when Dr. King did his march, there were all types of people that marched. And not all of them were marching for the same reason he was, but they were there. And when you look at the films, you'll see some of them there. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just telling you, a lot of times when, I'll just say this, the Black Lives Matter movement, and I'm just using that as an example. When it first was introduced, it's true. Our lives do matter. All lives matter. But as you begin to do more and more and more research, you start finding out a lot of other things. And not only social justice issues, because I'm not we should treat everybody properly. But folks, we got to start reading the fine print in everything, whether it's on the right or left. Because as you do more research, you find out there's some, you'll find out there's some interesting caveats to some of this stuff. Even in, and again, I'm not trying to be political, but even in making bills for us to abide by laws, I should say, that's a better, even in coming up with laws, the government sees a need, and then they say, well, hey, we got to do something about it, and everybody says, yes, we should. So then, Congress gets together, and the bill comes out, and the heading of the bill addresses whatever the issue is. But before it passes, other things are added. You heard the term pork. When you hear pork out of Washington, that means we started out addressing a need. But then the lawmakers begin to massage, well, I'll vote for it, but you got to add this for my district. You got to add this for my constituents. See, everybody, what's in it for me? What's in it for my state? What's in it for my constituents? And so by the time the law passes, it looks like nothing. The reason that it became a law, sometimes that gets lost. And I'm saying all of that because most of us are glued to social media. And I'm not here to bash that. I mean, it has good and bad, but I'll tell you, nowadays, I shared with you before, all of these so-called experts, they can tell you how to make $30,000 in 3 weeks painting your nails. Stupid stuff. And they're getting the most views. And I'm telling you, people, most of those people are doing, they're selling books, tapes, or videos. They're not even in the real bit. Whatever they're selling you, they haven't done it. And they're not the only ones selling something or promoting something that they don't know a whole lot about. I'm going to leave that alone because I don't want people throwing rocks at me. But you gotta start researching some of these people you're listening to. I'm telling you. I don't know how far I'm gonna get, but and let me say this: I'm just sharing with you out of concern, because the everyday person, we are by ourselves. We are by ourselves, and some of us separate among ourselves, and we're gonna need each other. Okay, let me move. Yeah, a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. A fool's mouth is his or her destruction, and their lips are the snare of their soul. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. Now, this is out of the King James, and most of us, we can understand what we just read. But wait till you hear it another way. He also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. Now, this is most of y'all's favorite. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. How many times have you heard preachers say that? The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and as an high wall in his own conceit. And most of us, again, see that, Barry? I told you, rich people ain't good. Not so. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. And remember, I said to you, a humble person is not that one that's walking around with a sign on his back, kick me. That is not a humble person. A humble person does what they have to do, not necessarily what they want to do. But if it's needed, they will step up to the plate and get it done. That's a humble person. But that's not the way we've been taught. We've been taught to be a doormat, and that somehow that's going to get you some extra brownie points with the Most High. No, it's not. The only thing it's going to get you is used, abused, and then laughed at. And then some of people are so brazen, they'll laugh at you in your face after they've used you. But that's the way we were taught. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. Now, all of us have been in, I'll say, discussions. And some of us are better listeners than others. But usually in a discussion or an argument or a debate, you know, we've all learned, well, I'll be quiet while they're talking. But we're really not listening at what they're saying. We're preparing what we're going to say. And as soon as the volume stops, boom, here we go. And if we had just listened, they may have touched on the very thing we needed to hear, which would blow our so-called argument right out of the water. (14) The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? I mean, saints, sometimes, we have wounded one another. We haven't wounded one another hitting somebody. But we have crushed some spirit. We have torpedoed people's desire. Sometimes the way we have carried ourselves, people just, oh man, I give up, I quit, I'm out. I don't want to hang anymore. Listen at this. The heart of the prudent getteth knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. I said to you last week, please always be in pursuit of learning something. Stop eating the same meal over and over and over. Grow, mature, stretch. In underwriting, you receive training. And after you finish your training, you take an exam and everything, and you get a manual and everything, and you're supposed to continue to read that manual and look over it. And as you get different cases that come across your desk, you begin to realize that every situation isn't covered in that manual. But where you get the experience and knowledge comes from looking at the different scenarios that come across your desk. But if all you do is, let me turn to page 36, section 3, you got that same 1 or 2 year training, and you've been at your job for 30 years. You're no more experienced than the person that just got the job. There should be a wide gulf of experience between you and somebody that's just getting to the party. If all you know is a handful of verses, what good are you to the new saint that's coming in? You mean that's as far as you've gotten in 50 years? Your level of understanding has not increased any? Past John 3:16? Is that it? A man's gift maketh room for him, and bringeth him before great men. He that is first in his own cause seemeth just. Let me read this, because I really want us to hear this in another translation. He that is first in his own cause seemeth just, but his neighbor cometh and searcheth him. We're going to hear that a little different. I know you're trying to run that around in your head and figure, well, what are they saying? The lot causeth contentions to cease. I really want y'all to hear this. And parteth between the mighty. Listen to this. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like bars of a castle. Let me say something here also. You know, again, right is right, wrong is wrong. But I tell you, we have become a nation, everybody's offended about everything. Oh my goodness. I mean, stuff that ain't none of your business. You all, you got your panties and drawers in a bunch. Don't even got nothing to do with you. You know, people just want to argue and protest about anything. We've taken this too far. We're taking it too far. We are taking this too far. And if you try to have a sense of humor, oh my goodness, you'll lose your job. Say something that people don't like. They'll call and you need to fire him. You need to fire her. Wait a minute. Really? And again, none of your business. Everybody's offended about everything. I don't like the way you looked at me. Well, then turn your head. And let me say something to the men. We shouldn't be getting all offended. I mean, listen, let me tell you, the dangerous thing about this women walking in the role of a man, we got men, we letting our emotions get us going the other way. And I'm not talking about the people that choose to live an alternative lifestyle. I'm talking about heterosexual men. We're too, what's wrong with us? We get oh man. I mean, it's getting so now, the way you shake a guy's hand, you might get a call for, what you mean by that? What I mean by what? I mean, man, it's getting so, you don't even want to hardly say anything to anybody because they may take it the wrong way. I'm like, man, what is up? What is the silliness? I'll tell you, man, we are bordering on stupidity. Listen to this. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle. A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. So, man, if you're always getting in an argument with somebody about, what is that? What are you filling your belly with? Contention, strife? That's gotta not taste so good. And all of us, as we get older, we, fighting that battle of the bulge. Even the world say, hey, make your words sweet because you might have to eat them. Now let's hear it for the world. Why didn't the church come up with that? I know why. One day I may tell you as I'm leaving. Oh, here's another one. We all know this one. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. But usually we just stop at what? Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Particularly in the new creation realities movement that has come up with their own jargon and everything. And yeah, well, okay. Here's another one. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing. Now they put thing in there. And obtaineth favor of the Lord. The poor useth entreaties. Here again, they're taking a shot at rich people. But the rich answereth roughly. But not all rich people. Let me say that again, saints. Not all rich people. Do you know there are some rich people that would put us so-called Torah scholars to shame? Oh, boy. Listen to this one. A man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. And a lot of times, a lot of pastors want to say, and that friend is Yeshua. But here, they're actually talking about another flawed human being. Let's hear it out of another translation. He who separates himself indulges his desires and shows contempt for sound advice of any kind. 2, a fool takes no pleasure in trying to understand. He only wants to express his own opinion. Let me read that again. A fool takes no pleasure in trying to understand. He only wants to express his own opinion. That goes back to when you're having a discussion with somebody and they're polite enough to wait for you to finish talking, but they haven't heard a word you said. They're just waiting for your lips to stop moving. Because they think what they got, this will settle it. And you may have just given them the answer that they were ignoring, getting their phony argument together, which don't hold water. When a wicked person comes, contempt comes too. And not only contempt, and with disdain and provocation. So not only are they coming with contempt and disdain, but they also coming to provoke you. See, it ain't enough that they are already upset and angry and whatever and want to fuss and fight. Now they want to get you out of your state. Because see, some people aren't happy and they know just how to do things. Spouses know what areas to go into when they really want to fight dirty, because there's a way to fight. You know, you need some ground rules. Keep in-laws and stuff out of it, you know. Don't talk about nobody's mom or dad or their family members. Just stick to you this and you that. Well, you this and you that. I don't know how many people do that, but that's a fair fight. But usually when they losing, they come in with this zinger because they know you best, or they're trying to know you best. Sometimes they're guessing because they don't know. Something to think about. The words of a man's mouth are deep water, a gushing torrent, a fountain of wisdom. Let me read that again. The words of a man's mouth are deep water, a gushing torrent, a fountain of wisdom. Selah. It is not good to be partial to the guilty, and thus deprive the innocent of justice. Here's my favorite. A fool's words get him into fights. Yes, his mouth calls out for a beating. And you know, I learned this a long time ago. We were going to Refuge Temple in Richmond. And your pastor was going to St. Paul Baptist Church. And well, I won't get into that, but he wasn't always wanting to stay in church like he do now. He'll stay in church 24/7 if you let him. But he wasn't always that way. And when we used to go to Refuge Temple, we was there day and night and day. But I heard this. Because, you know, I'd also heard, hey, turn the other cheek and this and that and be peaceful and all that. And I was like, man, I used to ask, I said, wait, you know what? Am I supposed to just let people beat me up and all that? I said, I can't do that. I'm not wired that way. And I was young. And I would talk to my mom about that. I say, hey, I remember what she said one time. She said, you one of them believers, you'll say, the meek shall inherit the earth if they open their mouth and speak up about it. I said, yeah, that's me. And she said, well, look, let me show you something. And she took me there. Now, she wasn't telling me to fight, but she instilled in me. She said, listen, you're not better than anybody. She said, but nobody's better than you. That stuck. And it still resonates today. And when she shared that with me, I never forgot it. And then I didn't mind coming back to church so much because I was like, man, they just creating a bunch of softies up in here. But now, this in the Bible. This in the Bible. Proverbs 18:6. And not long after that, I got into some fights. Of course, I was taking it out of context. But at the time, that's the justification I used. Oh, listen to this. A fool's mouth is his ruin. His words are a trap for him. A fool's mouth is his ruin. His words are a trap for him. A slanderer's words are tasty morsels. They slide right down into the belly. Did you hear how the Most High characterized? He said a slanderer's words are tasty morsels. And see, along with the tasty morsels, that's where you hear about itching ears, saints with itching ears. See, we just love gossip. We like that. In fact, today's thing is what we call it hating. We love hating. You know, and again, on social media, they talk about everybody. They talk about the good people. They talk about the bad people. Somebody, some singer, something had a birthday party or something for one of their daughters, and I'm listening to the radio, and they was getting a lot of hate because, you know, I guess they were fairly well off, and so they blessed their kids with whatever, and people got offended at that. Man, what's that got to... Did you go to the studio with that person when they recorded that? Are you their business manager? What business is it of yours what they give their kids? Do you see how I say we offended about everything? Now you want to tell them how to spend their money? Oh, are you saying, well, if I know you're going to give your son a new car, I ain't buying no more of your records. Okay. See, we've taken this thing too far. We think we can have license and we can speak on anybody's situation. You are only an authority over your own life. Nobody else's. Nobody else's. Listen to this. Whoever is lazy in doing his work is brother to the destroyer. Now, we like to always quote that. The devil come to steal, kill, and destroy. That's what they teach. Now, here he says, this person says, whoever is lazy in doing his work, W-O-R-K, W-O-R-K, and that is not a curse word. W-O-R-K is not a bad word. Robert, is your son here today? No, because he asked to meet with me one time because I used the term. And he and his father and I, we went in the back. And I listened to what he had to say. I apologized. And I told him, I said, from now on, man, I'm going to try to do better. I appreciate that from that young man because he's got a beautiful spirit. He is teachable. And as far as I can see, because I only see him when he's here, but I have a sneaking suspicion he listens to his parents. And I'm not getting off track because that's in line with my family, friends, Fidelity. I'm working with a grandson of a friend of mine that we used to work together at the same insurance company for over 15, 20 years. And I gave the young man a job. He cleans the Chinese Baptist church with me. In fact, he'll be going there today. I'm going to pick him up. He's not 16 yet, so he can't work, just yet, but he's been working with me a while. And, I decided to do that because I'm trying to be the best friend I can be. See, every status that I walk in every day when my eyes open, I'm somebody's brother, I'm somebody's son, I'm somebody's cousin, I'm somebody's uncle. That's who I am. Every day, regardless of what I do or don't do, that's who I am. And so unless my status changes, I need to be the best, whatever those statuses are that I walk in every day, every day, every day, every day. So if I consider myself a friend to his grandmother, and I can do something to help her grandson because he's a little on the, he's real smart. And he lived like them people, I was going to use the Cosby family, but that's who they remind me of. But isn't there a show called Blackish or whatever and they doing real, well, his mother's a high school principal and his father is some big tech at Virginia Commonwealth University. So he's spoiled rotten. But he's a good kid now. I'm not, and that's all right. And you know what? See, I love to see him and his sister. I hope they spoil them rotten, but share some wisdom with them. Because when I'm with him, when he's with me, I'm talking to him. I say, man, when I was coming up, we used to have to get up and walk to the TV and turn it on. They don't know life without a computer, cell phone. They don't know this. And he's 15 and almost 16. But I'm talking to him, and he's got a girlfriend. I guess he's told his parents. He told me. So that's why he want to work. So I said, oh, man, you're 15. And she's an older woman. I don't mean woman. She's probably about a year or two older than him or whatever. I was like, man, you're doing all right. But I just want him to understand that work is real. And I told him, I said, listen, the minimum wage is going up to $15 an hour. I said, so that's what I'm going to start you out at. I said, now, I used to work in the office, and I used to go to work dressed nice. Oh, man, it was great. I said, now I clean toilets. I said, you mind doing that? I won't go have him do that. I just trying to find out where he's at. Because remember now, he's in a situation, he don't have to do jack if he don't want to. Because he's got everything. His own room too. But his grandmother had some concerns, and I said, well, okay. I said, if it's all right with his parents, yeah. And it was and everything, because his father has worked with me. Make a long story short, while he's working, I'm talking with him. And I want him to understand that, especially, I take him to the Chinese Baptist church. I'm going to take him there this evening. And he's going to work. And 2 nights a week, I let him go to Bowtie, the movie theater with me. And I gave him a shirt and all, and I gave him a backpack. And I told him, write down your hours. And I'm just training him, hey, this is what you got to do. I said, because sometimes your employers can make mistakes. So you track your hours. And I'm working with him. And I want him to understand, hey, man, you got a lot of nice stuff, and that's great, man. Your parents, they love you. They want the best for you. But this is how your parents were able to give you what they got. They go to work. They go to work, whether they feel like it or not. And I'm just trying to share with him, and he told his mother, I found this out last night. He told his mother, I like working with Mr. Green, but here's what I did. I've been talking to the people at Bowtie. I said, listen, this young man, he's going to be 16 soon, and I'd like for you all to hire him. I said, you've seen him working around here. I said, he can work for me because that's my company, and because they couldn't hire him until he's 16. So they gave him an application. Now he's getting ready to get a real introduction to work. Because what are they going to do? They're going to pay him minimum wage, which is what, $7 and some cent? $7.50 or whatever. Well, he already told his mother, I don't want to work for Bowtie. I want to keep working with Mr. Green. But see, I just wanted him to get introduced to what it was like to work. And so I told his grandmother, I said, now you tell your daughter that he needs to fill out that application. And if they hire him, he needs to take that job. I said, he needs to take that job. And so she asked, well, Barry, if he take the job, can he still at least clean the Chinese Baptist church with you? I said, I don't know. I said, because they need help. They do. They need help bad. But, You know, I wished I had had that opportunity when I was coming up. Don't mean I didn't get a job. I got a job. I cut grass. I carried papers because I like money at a young age. And with, 4 other siblings, it just want a whole lot of, hey, here's an extra $50 or, If you wanted it, you found something to do. But see, all of this, and he's understanding even more. Well, because I know he's confused. Well, hey, are you dating my grandmother? No, I'm not dating your grandmother. Your grandmother and I are friends. Look now, you get ready to mess up something here. And if she says something to you about that, you listen to me, what I say. He's inquisitive. See? And, all of this is part of my research and what I'm studying. It never fails. Whatever I'm studying about, the Most High puts me in situations where I got to use what I claim I'm studying about, got to put it into practice. And sometimes it's not always at the best time for me. Now, it might be for heaven. Because they go, hey, Peter, come on over here and watch what he do with this situation. I know this just gets to him, but I'm going to get him anyway. Because he need to get that attitude out of his system. So that means that prayer warrior that done moved in catty corner across the street with her house facing where she can see everybody that go and come. I said, Lord, you playing dirty now. Come on. I said, now, I'm going to tell you, a certain kind of person move across the street from me, I'm going to move. He know that's probably, man, you love that house. You ain't going nowhere. They're going to carry you out of there. And only he know what day they're going to be carrying me out of there. But I just said, come on now, saints, seriously, all of us need somewhere where we can have peace. All of us. I don't know, it might be a favorite room in your house, but all of us need somewhere where you feel peaceful. And then you can deal with whatever comes, and you just say, if I can just make it home. And y'all, August, I think Sherry and Edgar house should be finished. And I love them dearly. I do. And they have really been a blessing. But I want them Negroes out of my house. I love them, though. I love them. I do. And really, I think they're ready to leave, too. In fact, Sherry said the other day, she said, if one more of your friends ask when our house will be ready, give them my number. All right. Let me get back. Oh, gee. Oh, 9. Whoever is lazy in doing his work is brother to the destroyer. And then it says, the name of Yah is a strong tower. A righteous person's run to it and is raised high above danger. And see, sis, when your situation, the owner of that house came and said, listen, which, by law they can do that, but it was kind of shabby the way they did it. And most of us going to find a lot of people, when they come to something that's really detrimental to you, some people are not concerned about what a hardship that's going to put on you. And your banks, don't raise your hand because the church have an account with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is doing something interesting with credit or something. And I got my business account over there with them. I'm like, Lord have mercy. And people are, I must got rocks in my head because when all that other stuff happened, I should have moved it then. But I just got to get it in gear. I'm with a credit union, so I'm going to do something. But all the banks going to get funny. All the banks going to get funny. And you know, see, the thing about it is, those of you that still want to work, when you get your job and you're trying to get back on your feet, all the forbearance and all the stuff that they've been doling out to you, that's going to count against your credit score. And you come in and you, well, hey, I got a job and this and that. And they go, yeah, but. And that's what we're going to be getting, the everyday man. Yeah, but we can't help you. And I'm hoping that more legislation will be passed that's going to help the everyday person. But let me say this. They can wipe out all the debt if they want to. But the economy here in the United States is based on consumption, folks. The stimulus checks are for you to spend. They don't even want you to pay your bills. They want you to go out and buy some more TVs. Yes, they want you to buy commodities to stimulate the economy. That's why it's called a stimulus check. They don't want you to put it in the bank. Of course, the bank is telling you, we don't want your money because we ain't giving you no interest. See, that's how you tell how things are going. Right now, the economy is against savers. And I'm not off point. I'm still on point. I'm trying to, listen, the stuff that you're hearing out of Proverbs is prevalent today. The wisdom that when this was written then, it still works today. And more of us need an infusion of wisdom in our everyday decisions. Stop treating church like it's something separate. Church is a part of your life. It's not a place you go to get inspired for a few hours on Saturday and then go back the rest of the week and get your brains beat out. Don't do that. Don't live like that. Take the stuff that you're hearing and apply it today. When you're looking at your bills, when you're looking at your situation, should we move? Should we sell? Should we buy? Should we whatever? Use that. Stop getting caught up in the situation itself. Use that wisdom. Not your feelings. Not, I'm tired of dealing with this. Well, grow some more patience. Because when we think, I'm at my wit's end, I'm at my rope's end, you're going to make the wrong decision. And those of us that are overly emotional, come on. Listen, you are in control of your emotions. You are. You don't have to get offended at what somebody say. You don't have to get angry about what somebody do. You don't have to. Now you can, but you don't have to. And then for those of us that say we're trying to do the Most High's will, when a situation presents itself, ask yourself, is the way that I'm trying to handle this thing, will this help me in trying to achieve the walk that I say or that I like to profess or proclaim? Is the way I'm handling this situation in line with what it is I'm saying, who I'm following? And this is to be looked at in your everyday decisions. I didn't get very far, but I'm going to check where I stopped, because 18, all of Proverbs is good, but 18 is something, because it deals more with friendship, some family, and it touches on fidelity, because that's something else that's needed amongst us. Fidelity is more like you will carry yourself a certain way. You will live at a certain standard. You will uphold certain values. If everybody else do something, you're going to stick to that. You're going to be true to what you say you're about. Not to what you do, but to who you really are at your core. That's where fidelity is needed. God bless you. Ready to turn off the thing. Time for me to sit down and shut up. Pastor, will you come?